Yeah, it does. You got the green screen. We're gonna be taking the
Yeah, yeah.
class, I guess.
Oh man,
Uh-huh.
I'm up in space, my friend. I'm up with the
Oh
satellite
man,
hanging from a balloon.
We
I'm trying to join you.
we about to be taking to school. Apparently, there's a red pill that's about to be
Oh
taken.
my
So let's.
God.
Just
Let's
looking at you
do it.
guys, I don't know anything about you, but you guys are already flat earthers. You just don't know it yet.
That could be the case. That could be. I got a confession.
Yeah.
I was a flat earther for about a week,
Get out of here.
years ago, like
How do
five,
you
six,
become a
7 years.
flat earther and not stay a flat earther? How is that even possible?
I don't know. Well, I guess we're gonna find out. Maybe we could talk about it. Maybe you could get me back. I don't know. I'm
Well,
open to all type of possibilities.
all
You
right.
know?
Yeah, that's me. I'm open to hearing and just listening to what you got to say for sure, for sure.
All right. Well,
But it's, you know,
I'm curious in your story on what made you a flat earther.
So I fell down the YouTube rabbit hole, right? I don't remember where the video was or who sent it or what. But I clicked one video. It might have been 20, 30 minutes, kept watching. And then for a week, it was a solid week, just watching and watching. And I was, hearing about the different things about the planes and the pilots, and they only have they have specific routes and all this stuff. For a week, it got me. And I was like, something crazy happening. But then I think I just stopped watching, and then I got back to life, paying bills, working, stuff like that.
You got to just put it on the side. All right.
Right.
All right. I get it.
But it's interesting though. We love this type of stuff.
You know
For
what?
sure,
You know what
for
I
sure,
find
yeah.
interesting is you're kind of telling the story of reality. And reality is it's easy to believe, but if you really want to know, it takes time and effort, and people just don't want to put in the time and effort. They got other things going on. You got to work, you're busy, you got a girlfriend,
Right.
Yes.
Pay bills,
whatever it is, you
Yeah.
got to mow the lawn, right?
I get money.
That's true. So I guess we can get started. We're recording. So
I was saying,
this
that's how we starting this thing. Go ahead, my bad.
this is the figuring shit out. I forget the episode. We're just
Mm-hmm.
gonna start. We should probably stop counting episodes and just fucking going. But I am Bunny Flocks.
Yeah.
You already know
What up,
my
Brody?
sites. Lucid Perspective. Check that out. Check out bunnyflocks.com. We got King Author in the building. What's going on?
I know what time it is. Unify and thrive, man. Check out the Cuddy app. Download that. Go to the website. I know what time it is. It should be a good episode today, Frank. I think we're gonna be doing a lot of giggling and going back and forth. But I think he got some. He might be looking like he coming with the facts, bro. He came in with the damn sun in the back.
Green screen
that's
class.
different.
Yeah.
I mean,
Our guest
he said
today.
he in a bloom.
Right there.
We in
Not
space right
93
now.
million miles away. It's right there.
Facts.
There.
So let me bring on. We have our guest here, Mr. David Weiss, aka Flat Earth Dave. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Love talking to people with an open mind, as long as it doesn't, you don't bend over and it falls out, you know?
Right, of course. So I guess our first question would be, what was your figuring shit out moment? I'm sure you have a crazy one. So we asked our guests, go ahead. What was your figuring shit out moment?
Well,
you can define it any way you want.
There's two figuring shit out moments. One was I started just looking into the reality of our world and realized there's so much deception. And the thing that woke me up was I started looking into the Federal Reserve, and I found out the Federal Reserve that makes our money, that the government gets the money from, is just a bunch of guys with their own bank, and they print money and they give it to our government at interest.
Facts.
I was like, that's crazy.
Early with the spice.
Yeah. So I went down that rabbit hole, and that led to other things. It led to false flags. It went to hoaxes. It went to everything. So I started a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, where we looked into, all of the major deceptions, and did that out of New York City. It was we did it at a Stand Up New York Labs, which is a division of Stand Up New York Comedy Club. And basically, it was myself and Tim were the truth seekers, and we had Mike, who's a big upcoming comedian right now, and he would turn everything into a fart joke. And it was a kind of a great back and forth. But in the third year, people started sending me stuff. Hey, Dave, have you looked into flat Earth? And just like any other sane person, I would just go, nah, that's funny, that's stupid, right? And then they keep sending us. I'm getting annoying, so I started deleting people, blocking them from our social media. You can't even comment on our podcast. You're too stupid even to suggest that I waste 2 minutes of my day looking at a flat Earth video. But then a good friend, researcher Sophia Smallstorm, she says, Dave, I think the Earth might be flat, and I absolutely lost my shit. And and she sent me some videos, and hey, you don't watch some videos and become a flat earther. You watch some videos and go, that's interesting. Let me go verify it myself. So I started watching videos just like you for a week, for 2 weeks. And I'm watching more and more. And YouTube at that time would feed you good stuff. Now they feed you garbage. Right. Yeah, the algorithm caught up. The controllers are like, we need to stop this. There's too many people waking up. And the one that got me was my figuring shit out moment was boats over the horizon, where I was watching all these videos with people going down to the beach, going down and watching boats appear over the horizon, and you can zoom back in on them, right? So, for example, like right here, you don't see a boat out here. So as we zoom in, what we're doing is we're increasing the angular size. And as we increase the angular size, all of a sudden you can see, oh, there's a boat. Right. And when you zoom back out, that boat will disappear out of your view. It's not over the curve. It's just out of your view.
Right.
Right. And so I got a camera. I ended up spending like $1,000 on a tripod and a camera. And I zoomed in on stuff that should have been way out of our range, out of my range, right? Here's Mount San Jacinto from Malibu, 123 miles away. 7,000 feet should be behind the curve, but it's here. But check this out. This looks funny because it's done with an infrared camera. An infrared cuts through that haze. If you without the camera, this is all sky. This is just blue sky, and you can't see the mountain. But the camera will cut through. So I'm like, all right, is that a mirage that this is seeing? No, that's dumb. It's the mountain. It's right there. It's right there. And Globers will like to say, oh, it's a mirage. When you see across Lake Michigan, 50 miles across, there's Chicago.
Right.
The very top of those buildings should be gone. Right. And then the famous clip of the weatherman going, oh, this is a mirage. It's because of the cold and the warm and the air, and it flips. And
the front temperature. Right. Yeah. All of these
that whenever you see a mirage like that does exist. It's hazy. It's wobbly. It's upside down. We're looking at this thing time lapse for 24 hours, day and night. It's not moving. So a couple of our guys got into a boat on a clear day. Like, there it is. They cut their camera, they zoomed in on it, and then they drove the boat across. Now, if it was a mirage, what would happen? It would disappear at some point. No, as you're going, the mirage would have changed. It would, but they didn't. The buildings just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So we've unequivocally proved that it's not a mirage.
So isn't there, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there some scientific equation that says if you're looking at a certain range of land, there's supposed to be a curve? And this is the science that NASA provided with the curvature of the Earth and the size of the Earth, and
so the
perspective and all that stuff.
Yeah, the Globers will say that the formula of 8 inches per mile squared. The Globers, well, Globers. I used to be a Glober, right? They call us flat earthers. I'm going to call them Globers, right? So
that's wild.
Suck it, All right. So they say that the easy formula is 8 inches per mile squared. Now, whoa, that's crazy. It's easy. It's 8 inches times the number of miles squared. Because if it was 8 inches per mile, that would just be a ramp. 8 inches, 8 inches, 8 inches. No, we don't live on a ramp. We live well, supposedly we live on a ball. So it's 8 inches the first mile. 1 times 8. And then 2 times 2 is 4 times 8 is 32 inches. The third mile is 6 feet. And so it gets, as you're going out, the drop is more severe. Okay. So I'm going to bring up some high school math, and this is easy. Pythagorean theorem. When you have a right angle, a squared, b squared equals c squared. Let's just go through it real quick for those people that are freaking out. Oh my God.
Yeah, just a quick math refresher, guys. We're not doing too much.
So a squared plus b squared equals the hypotenuse. This is what we all learned this, and we were wondering, what the hell am I ever going to do with that? Well, here it is. That time you were in high school going, what the hell do I need this for? You need it for this.
It's a hint
right now.
Right, exactly.
Right.
This is what the game is for you.
So you have a guy standing here, and when he's looking out perpendicular to his feet, right? He's vertical. And when you look out, you're looking out perpendicular to your vertical stance. So they tell us that here we go, that the to the center of the Earth is is 3,863 miles. Okay. So we have 3,863. Then we say, hey, let's do 100 miles out just for a nice round number. Right. So if you take those, square them, and that equals the square of the hypotenuse. So when we square it, it's 3,964. Okay. Right. So we subtract this from it, and it gives us our drop, which is right here, which is 1.2015 miles. And if we turn that into feet, if everyone knows the 8 squared plus B squared, 8 inches per mile squared, 100 miles is 6,660 feet. It's exactly right. It's exactly right. Now, people say, when you use this formula, when you go out over 1,000 miles, it turns into a parabola. That's true. But guess what? You're never going to see 1,000 miles. The 8 inches per mile squared works within a fraction of a fraction up to 1,000 miles, even over 1,000 miles. Let's just say, hey, we're just going to use it under 1,000 miles. You follow? You follow, King?
I kind of. I'm glad we're recording because I'm going to watch this 7 times.
Yeah. So 100 miles out, we look at the length, right? And we take the difference from here to here, right? The difference from, this is from the center. So we know that the same distance from the center would be to here if we lived on a ball. And so that remaining part is 6,660 feet. Okay. 1.2 miles. So it works perfectly. So at 10 miles, there's 66 feet, right? At 3 miles, there's 6 feet. A lot of sixes.
Okay.
A lot of sixes. Right?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, right. Okay. So, all right, do some math at us. We're going to have to slow this down and watch it over a couple times.
Yeah.
King, you're on mute.
Here, this is
my bad.
Observation.
So, I get my bad, bro. You ain't get to hear me laugh. Now you got to hear me laugh.
Right.
How did that help me see that there was not or was a curvature in the earth? Right.
Well, it tells you what the curvature should be. You're never going to see the curvature. Now, you're going to think you saw a curvature because of optics, and we're going to look into that. But if you get a glass, you can't really see it here. If you get a glass of water and you hold it up to your eye level so your eyes are skimming right across the top of that water, extend that out, and that's where your horizon is. So we're on a building here. This is a sister building of it that's at the same height. And if you skim across, it lines right up with the horizon because the horizon always tries to rise to your eye level.
I've heard that before.
The ground ramps up and the sky ramps down. And the sky, being infinitely farther and bigger, will ramp down behind it. And that's why things will disappear behind the horizon. So when you see the sun, looks like it's going down. It looks like it's going down, but in reality, it's just going away.
Further away. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think is the reason for
a lie?
The lie. Well, not the lie, but I was going to get there later, but I was going to say the animosity towards people that believe this or flat earthers in general. Like, because when you hear, like you said, even you, when someone first brought it to you, you were disgusted. You were like, oh my God, I can't believe this. So what do you think the animosity comes from for flat earth believers?
Yeah, they I have to hats off to the elite. They really programmed everybody to the point where they won't even look into it. They programmed us to where we'll just mock the person, we'll ostracize them, and we'll refuse to look at the evidence. That is some good programming, right? Because they know if we look with an open mind and use our God-given common sense, that we will see. And nobody likes having their ball taken away. So, you were programmed that the world was a globe before you can talk. Your parents gave you astronaut sheets and put a mobile of planets over you, and then they parked you in front of Sesame Street and Disney. They have astronauts on there, and it's all programming. And I don't know if you remember, but one of the first worksheets you bring home from school is the orbits of the sun, the moon, and the earth, and the planets.
Right. That is very early.
There is a lot of programming. And then what you get a treat, you go on the weekend, you get taken to the movies. Where do you go? You go to Star Wars, you go to, everything is space.
Science fiction, yeah.
And they want you to believe in outer space. But here's the truth. Outer space is scientifically provably impossible. We'll get into that. But
okay,
the outer space.
Have you been?
The outer space. You guys believe in extraterrestrials?
I do.
You want to, right? Well, and let me tell you, I'm going to read your mind. Ready? The reason you believe in extraterrestrials is because you'd really have to be egocentric to believe that we're the only ones in this massive universe, right? In this massive infinite universe with trillions and trillions of other worlds and suns and stuff. What are the odds that we're the only ones, right?
Right. In that theory, the math works better in favor of extraterrestrial life.
Right. And
that's what do you say to people? What do you say to people who say, I'm just that unique? Huh?
That we're unique? Well, there are some people
that we're just that unique.
They're very egocentric. So, so let me. I think it's easier. I'm going to bring it up this way. So I'm going to make myself small here.
This is fun. Fun.
So, what if the world was? Well, first they want us to believe that we're at the bottom of the ball. That Antarctica is at the bottom of a ball, right? Reality, Antarctica.
South Pole, yeah.
Yeah, well, Antarctica is the shoreline of our pond, right? The shoreline, right? Here are all of the continents and stuff, right? But the water is surrounded by land, right? The water is surrounded by land. This is the shoreline of our pond. Think about that.
Right. That's the flat Earth map, correct?
Well, this is a version. This is not exactly it, but we'll show you. I'll show you the map of how we think their stuff is laid out. And here's the thing. We don't have a perfect map, but it's better than their stupid globe, and it works. So,
right. Okay.
So, what if the world was set up like this? What if we lived here? This is us, right? Here's the United States, South America, Africa, Australia, right? And here is Antarctica. And look, beyond Antarctica, in the outer space, this is the inner space.
More continents, right?
More continents, more land, extra land. What do you call extra land? Extra territory. If somebody lived on the extra territory, extraterrestrials from where? Outer space. How far away? I don't know. 10,000 miles, 20,000 miles. A reasonable amount of distance, right?
Right. So I do believe there may be other continents that are hidden from us for the simple fact. I guess if you look at the globe model, what is it? The Pacific Ocean is so vast. It's like the whole half of the hemisphere. It has its own hemisphere. And it's just water, supposedly, if you believe the globe model.
Right.
I believe there's too much water for there not to be something here. Islands, whatever, other continents or whatever. So I do believe there may be other land masses that we don't know about, that we're not taught about.
How many other oceans are there?
7. Oh, we're going to high school.
We're doing continents. Well, they taught us that there's the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian, and the Arctic. Those are the 4 oceans.
Right.
Okay. Right.
Right.
And they never really talked to you about the Southern Ocean. The Southern Ocean is so you have your latitude lines, right? You have 0, right? No, 90 degree. Wait. 0 is the equator, and then it goes up to 90 to the top and 90
That's
to the
poles,
bottom, right? 90 is the poles. So anything below 60 in the south is where the Southern Ocean is, right? So everything past 60 degrees in the south is the biggest ocean of the world, and nobody is allowed to explore there. Got a problem with that?
That is very questionable, and I've always felt that about Antarctica. With the whole.
Yeah.
I looked into the Robert Byrd stuff. I thought that was always crazy.
Admiral Byrd.
There's many Admiral Byrd. I said Robert. Admiral. Yeah. There's many ways you can go. But yeah. You look perplexed over there.
Majorly, but only because it's just almost unfathomable. Because I need you to be there and come back, but. There is a lot of scientific movies, right? Because I keep thinking about this Limitless movie, Timeless, right? With the Justin Timberlake dude.
Yeah.
When they had to pay to get to certain regions of the world or
right.
Earth, right?
Give up time,
yeah.
Right? Right.
What is that?
And
What is
then
that
another one
movie?
is
What was that movie called? It was called
Timeless.
No, no,
Timeless.
no.
It
End
was
of time
no,
or
Out of Time.
out of
Limitless.
time.
Oh,
Out
was
of
it
time.
Out of
Out of
Time?
time.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah, good
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, out of time. And then Frank say the ocean. He said southern ocean. The ocean so big and so vast and so deep. They don't even they claim to know more about space, right? So they claim to know more about outer space, right, than they do about the actual ocean. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Well, and we
that's
don't know crap about the oceans, right? And we want to go to outer
Right.
space. They're like, we have to go to Mars because we're ruining our planet, and we need to build, another place to live on Mars. There's no air on Mars, right? So they have to build a dome, right? And we'd have to be like trapped in these
Terraform.
right. Wait a minute. Our place isn't nearly, even if we destroy this world, it's not nearly as bad as Mars. Why don't you just build a dome in Ethiopia? We already have the air. We can run railroad lines there, get all the stuff we need there. Build domes here in hospitable areas. At least we have air, and sun, and warmth, and supplies. Right? It's so stupid. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. That's the science of water, right? If you have anything bigger than a gallon of water at rest is flat, right? A drop, yes, there's surface tension, but a gallon,
Right.
5 gallons, a pool, a hot tub, a lake, they all need lateral pressure, right? Because if you take off the side of a tub, the water flows.
Yeah, it's
away.
going to spill out, right?
Right. Here's the side of a lake. Here's the side of our world pond. This is Antarctica. This is the ice wall that you always hear about. Right. Here's a map that was found in the early 1900s from a Buddhist temple. It was printed in a Hawaiian Gazette, I believe. And it showed all of these other continents out here. Okay. So think about this. Our sun circles around in here and it's melted out this pond. Everything outside, let's say outside of here is, let's just say it's pretty frozen. Okay.
Right.
So we'd have this ice wall all the way around here, but some of this land is sticking out. Okay. So if you want to go to Antarctica, you go the place you go from is Santiago, and they take you out here. And let's say this is where they took you. This piece of land right here, that's not a little island. That's bigger than the United States and Canada. It's like 4 times the size. Okay. So this is massive. And if they pulled you here and said, hey, we're at Antarctica, how would you ever know anything? You wouldn't know. You're there.
Right.
It's all ice.
That's true.
Penguins. Right. This is massive. Like, where are you guys located? What state?
I'm in Virginia. Yeah, Virginia.
Okay. All right. So I live in Connecticut here. Long Island. You ever been to Long Island, New York? All right. Long Island. If you pulled up from the ocean to Long Island, do you even know that Connecticut exists, let alone California, let alone the Pacific Ocean? You don't know crap. Yeah. You're stuck on the South Shore of Long Island. All right. So if you're here, you could believe you're on a continent at the bottom of a ball. So here's something interesting. The elite are worried about global warming, right? Global warming, right? I think they're worried about passages being opened up to get out here, right? So check this out. This is interesting. This is a world. You can track all of the cargo ships all over the world. You go to the site, and you click on any of these. It'll tell you what the ship is, where it's registered, what's on it, where it's going, everything. It gives you everything you need. Okay, we found some ships 400 miles inside of the shoreline of Antarctica. How did they get there? This is supposed to be land or ice, but there's ships out here.
So that's radar? That's an actual...
This is not... well, they say that radar is tracking them, and then on these southern ones, they go, well, satellites are tracking them. I'm not buying any of that. I'm not buying any of that. All right? But we can see that there's ships out here. What if these ships are going to these outer lands? So we found this ship and we clicked on it, and it's giving us no information other than it's 560 meters. That's almost 2,000 feet long, 80 meters wide. This is a friggin' aircraft carrier size ship. This is massive. I don't even know. I gotta look up how big an aircraft carrier is. This is a massive ship, right? This ship could have so much stuff on it we don't know, right? Right. So we look it up, and where is it from? It's from an island called Kiribati. So Kiribati, look out here in the middle of the South Pacific.
Right.
Where you don't even see
what I was talking about.
You zoom in, right? You zoom in on Kiribati, and check it out. It's this little sand atoll, right?
Wow.
Who lives here? Sand people. Okay. This is a sandbar, and the Chinese government is highly involved with this country. They just gave them $10 billion. So let's just assume I'm right. Earth is
I believe
flat.
that.
All of those continents are out there, and there's been shipping lanes. They're shipping. They're sending people, food. There's trade. There's all sorts of stuff is going in and out of there. How would you in Virginia ever know about it? You never even heard of Kiribati until just now.
Right.
Right.
That's real.
I encourage anybody to go on Google Earth and zoom in the middle of the South Pacific and zoom in, and you're going to find all these little islands, and just zoom in, and it's like, where are these places? And they have airstrips, and they have all sorts of stuff. So there's a whole nother world here within our world, let alone they may have access to outside our world, to the extra territory.
That's interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
What do you think is it is? I love theories like this. I love pondering things like this. But I have to ask, and what do you think is the purpose of the lie? What do you think NASA's role is, and what really is NASA about?
Yeah,
because some people. Some of the things that happen, when you talk about this stuff, you post it or whatever. If you take away the censorship and the banning of accounts and all that stuff, you got people that'll just jump on and Google something and go straight to a NASA website, point to Bill Nye, point to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and say, "Look what they said."
You mean Bill Nye, the lying guy with the bow tie, or Neil deGrasse Tyson, the alleged rapist and failed actor? That guy?
Oh, Lord.
Okay.
Sure. Okay.
These are actors. These are actors leading the world stage.
Man.
Okay. All right. So, so you got look at our pond, right? Our world pond, and then Antarctica is the shoreline around us. So how do you stop people? You know what? Let me back up. If you had a tiger as a pet, full-grown tiger, and you live on a half acre with a fence, and you had him in the backyard, what's he going to do? He's going to pace around that fence all day long. He's like, I want to get out of here. So then you get a bigger yard. You get 10 acres. All right, he's happier, but he sees that fence. He still wants to go to the fence. Then you put him in a safari park that's 50 miles around. Lion's pretty happy. He sees the fence. He's like, I'll go this way, right? Put a human in there. Make it 500 miles around. Make it 5,000 miles around. Put a human in there. What happens when he sees the fence?
Turn around.
He wants to go to the other side of the fence. We're human. We don't. You can't contain us. So how do you stop people from thinking about it? Well, you take your pond and the shoreline of your pond, and you wrap it around a globe. So you take the shoreline and you wrap it around, and you say, "There's nothing else to discover, Truman. This is it."
Right. This is it. Yeah, Truman Show's crazy.
This is it. And so they trap you on a ball. Okay?
That makes sense. Psychoanalytically, psycho whatever. You know the word I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The freaking brain programming, brainwash shit, psycho shit. Psycho warfare. That makes sense.
Yeah. There it is. So they're controlling your mind like that, right? And when you go, you say, well, let me go check out Antarctica. So you Google Antarctica from space, right? There's no shots from space, but high altitude shots of Antarctica, all cartoons. Why is that?
And I agree, and that does raise suspicion and awareness, because I've seen the Photoshop images of extra clouds, the same clouds in different areas, where NASA will show a photo of the Earth, and I've seen that. Right. And it does raise suspicion, and it does point to NASA's lying about something. But I'm not sure that the conclusion that can be derived from that is flat Earth. I feel like, if anything, that proves NASA's lying about something. They're photoshopping images. They're doing some type of photo editing. But I don't think that's evidence of flat Earth. I think that's evidence of NASA being deceptive.
Yeah. So we're gonna let's go down that rabbit hole, and we'll just take care of NASA and SpaceX.
I'm confused.
You're confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, the NASA shit always perplexes me, because I'm like, why do you have to do stuff like this if you're not trying to hide something?
Right.
Maybe it's not what we even something that we could fathom. I don't know.
Yeah. So when you go to Antarctica, we have we have bases in Antarctica. Here are the bases. They're all right here. This is where they are. Okay, these are the bases. They're not out here. They're not below the ball. And like, somebody from this base doesn't call somebody from this base, say, "Hey, meet me at the South Pole." Never happens. Okay, and South Pole would be underneath. They'd be, supposedly on the opposite sides of Antarctica, right? those two bases are supposed to be here and here, right? They never say, hey, let's meet in the middle, right? Never happens because they're opposite ends of the Earth from each other. Okay. A lot of deceptions in Antarctica. So Admiral Byrd, Project High Jump, went out and said, hey, there's land beyond the South Pole. Like, so coming from America, there's land beyond the South Pole. So he come from America, you go down to Santiago, he goes here, and he goes beyond the South Pole, and he says there's a continent bigger than the United States, filled with resources, no people, no animals, no nothing. Oh,
okay,
right?
Yeah.
Filled with coal and oil and uranium, everything we need. Right? Everyone's fighting this world. We need resources. He says this continent no human has ever set eyes upon. Right? Now, if he said past the pole, wouldn't he just say south of Australia? No, he said past the pole.
Supposedly.
That makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah, the Admiral Byrd story is really crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you didn't know about it.
So Admiral Byrd, 1950, late 50s, he gets on TV and he makes that news conference, and and then all of a sudden they do the Antarctic Treaty. Now all of the countries of the world, all the countries in the world, they all agree. They all
one
agree
particular landmass
that no one is allowed to go there. Right? No one's allowed to go there. Isn't that weird? All the countries in the world, they're all fighting over everything, right? But they can all agree on two things. Nobody could explore Antarctica, right?
Facts.
And everybody needs to get the jab.
Oh, don't get me
how is
started
that
on that.
possible? How do they all agree on both? Every country in the world fights about everything, but they all agree nobody can go
That's
there.
a great point.
Nobody can go there. And then all of a sudden, they go, the next year, they go, we're going to the moon. Everyone, we're going to the moon. We're taking a bunch of Freemasons to the moon. We're going to tell you a bunch of stories, and you can't go there. You can't measure there. And we
haven't been back since the 60s, right?
Yeah, and suppose we just went back. You want to get into that? That's ridiculous.
I didn't know about it.
About Artemis. You don't even know about Artemis? We just went to the moon. It came back yesterday.
Did it, King? You're mute again.
Didn't even know.
You keep putting your thing on mute. Yeah. What were you saying?
Nah, I was talking about. I was saying Tesla just sent the damn rocket past the moon, right? So supposedly.
Yeah.
SpaceX.
Artemis. So Artemis went to the moon, and this is what they showed us, right? This is supposedly Earth here. Okay, so here's a shot. This is like they always got the selfie of themselves, and here's Earth, and all of a sudden it disappeared. It's gone. Where'd it go? What happened? Lights go out? Can you explain that other than this being another layer and it getting turned off? Where'd it go?
In Photoshop?
It's like another layer. It's like I could put on a layer behind me. Like,
right.
It's
if there's one thing that I can say about photography from these vehicles, from these organizations, is they are all very shoddy, suspicious, cartoon looking. And then when you see the Photoshop clouds, copy and paste, all of that, it just blows the whole lid off the shit. But again, I don't feel like that it proves flat Earth. I feel like it proves.
I don't need them to prove flat Earth. I'm showing. I claim NASA is here to make you believe you can live on a ball, to make you believe that outer space is real, to make you believe that you're insignificant, and I'll show you that they're fake. Doesn't prove the Earth is flat. I'm with you 100%. It proves that they're lying about space. Okay. We don't need to lie. You can lie about space all day long, but you can't lie about the Earth because we're here. We can measure it. We can measure it. The average common man can use his common sense and measure it. So a few years ago, a million miles away, a satellite or spaceship, whatever, took a picture of the Earth, of the moon with the Earth behind it. Beautiful. Got some detail. A little weird. This side of the moon's looking a little different than our side of the moon, right? And it's a full moon and a full Earth because the sun's behind the camera, right? Think what
supposedly
for us to see the full Earth means the sun's behind us. Therefore, as a full moon, it's not as bright as we see the moon. That's kind of weird, right? But Artemis went around the moon, is supposedly really close to the moon, and got a picture of the Earth. You see a problem? Look at the size of the moon and the size of Earth. And now this is 238,000 miles away from Earth. This is 1,000,000 miles away from Earth.
Oh, so you're talking about the
I'm talking about
discrepancy
the
and what they said.
sizes. Yeah, look at the sizes.
And the moon looks bigger than Earth.
Yeah, and in the new picture, right?
Yeah, and this just adds to the issue with the discrepancies and inconsistencies with NASA, their photography, their
Absolutely.
video, and all that stuff. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then if you look at what's going on here? There we go. If you look at this is JAXA, the Japanese space agency, just flew around the moon, and this is the picture they took. This
like
is the picture Artemis took, right? This is horrible. Look at the detail here. You can see better detail from Earth. This is from like 80 miles away or 800, whatever. They're super close to the moon, and they got no detail. This is us. But in the 1960s, we got way better pictures of the moon from Apollo, right? Artemis, this is what they're showing us. And look at this moon. What is this, a potato? It's not even a circle.
Right. It's oblong.
It's oblong. Like they can't get their shit right now.
The consistencies,
I go back and forth daily. Are they just busting our chops going, let's see how stupid these people are, or are they that bad? Okay. Like I can't decide which one it is. Are they?
I think they want you to spin your wheels trying to figure it out. They need you to. Because once you do, they can make it better.
No. Yeah, it's so stupid. Look at the difference. Look at
that's 2022? That was like recently, like wow.
This was just 1969. This is the picture we got, right? And this is just Artemis from the other day. Look at the detail difference. Look at this Artemis stuff, bro. Absolute nonsense. Absolute and total nonsense.
50 year technology from
Right.
And their photography has always been trash.
They show us this we got the Earth here. This is from now, and this is from 2015, right? The moon passing over. Where's the brightness of the moon? You go out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Virginia, no lights around on a full moon night, clear night. You can read a book.
It's bright, yeah.
You cast your shadow on the ground. Where's the brightness? Where's the brightness of the moon?
Okay, I'm gonna give you this one. I'm gonna say this one. So the moon doesn't have its own light, right?
In the heliocentric model, I say the moon is its own light.
I saw his head explode just now. His head just said it just blew up right now.
He feels like he's on mute right now.
Does the Earth have its own light?
No, the Earth is supposedly reflecting sunlight. The sun is the only light in the heliocentric model, and it is reflecting off. Now, here's something you never learned this in school. I'm going to teach it to you right now. It's really simple. It's called the inverse square law of light. Oh, here he goes with the math again. Okay.
No, math is cool.
Math is cool. So
I love math.
So I'll use a balloon as an example. So let's say this is a balloon. So let's say this is a light, and the surface of this balloon is the amount of light that there is. Okay. And so when this balloon gets bigger, that light is spreading out. It's spreading out, right? It's spreading out, and it's getting thinner and thinner, like sound. If you were right next to me, you could hear me, but if you were a mile away, you couldn't hear me because the sound spreads out and it gets thinner and thinner. Light does the same thing. It spreads out. So every time you double a distance to a light, it's 1/4 of the brightness. Or every time you get half as close to a light, it's 4 times brighter. Okay?
That makes sense, yeah.
So if I'm looking at the moon on a full moon night, let's just say it's 1 lumen. A lumen is the measurement of light, 1 lumen. Okay? If I went halfway to the moon, it's 4 lumens. If I went halfway from there, it's 16. Halfway again, it's 64. And it keeps on quadrupling every time you half the distance. When you get to about 1,000 miles from the moon, it's supposed to be something like 60 times brighter than the sun that we see from Earth. Okay? Right. You can't fathom the sun at twice its brightness, right? You can't, the sun is the brightest thing you know. You can't even fathom it, right? But for us to see the moon at the brightness that we see, it would have to be 60 times brighter than we see the sun at that distance.
Because of the distance Right. Okay.
Because
That makes sense.
because that light spreads out. That light spreads out. Right. If I blew that balloon up to 2 feet wide, that's going to be really thin. If I blew it up to 10 feet wide, could you even see that light anymore? Right. I'm just using a balloon as an example. As it goes out, the light spreads out farther and farther. It gets thinner and thinner.
Right.
And it gets weaker and weaker.
It loses brightness. Right.
You guys go out. Jupiter. No, Jupiter's in the sky tonight. That's not right now. And if you guys looked up and seen Jupiter in the sky, I
think my son told me about it. He did tell me. Yeah, he showed it to me.
Literally the brightest thing in the sky other than the moon. Okay, it's brighter than any star. Okay, it's brighter than any star. Right. So we're told in the heliocentric model that Jupiter is. We see these planets because they're reflecting light. Right. They're reflecting light from the sun. Okay. So let me pull up Jupiter here. So Jupiter is a lot farther from the sun than we are, right?
Right.
Jupiter is trying to find my Jupiter picture. Where'd it go? All right, so Jupiter, so why I'm looking for that. Jupiter is, if you were on Jupiter looking at the sun would be very small, a lot smaller than we see from Earth,
Right,
farther away. So you have to imagine that smaller distant sun is lighting up Jupiter, which is a non-reflective surface, a dark gassy surface, and that is reflecting back to your eye here in Virginia
as bright as it is.
As bright as the friggin' sun. Does that make any sense? Does it make any sense at all?
I don't think so.
It makes no sense.
When you spell it out, right? When you use the physics and the relation to light and distance, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
What do you think, King?
I'm still stuck on how the moon giving off its own light.
Well, so in the flat Earth model, we say that the sun and the moon are the anode and the cathode of our electric system that we live in, and the moon is giving off its own light, because when there's a new moon, that means that there's no light on the moon. When it's, no one has ever seen a new moon. Well, people go, well, that's because it's right next to the sun and you can't see it. What about during an eclipse, a total eclipse? Total eclipse of the sun, you got the sun, you got the sun, and then the moon comes right in line and blocks the sun, right? And then we see the sun being darkened, right? You with me? That's what a solar eclipse is. And when it darkens the whole sun, how come we don't see the moon? How come we can't zoom in on the moon? Because the sun's no longer blinding us. It's being blocked, right?
Right. But isn't it a shadow at that point? Isn't it a shadow being projected onto us?
Well, no, that you're thinking the shadow. That's a solar eclipse.
Lunar eclipse.
Solar eclipse puts the shadow of the moon on the Earth, which is a whole nother problem. Okay.
Right.
But it blocks the sun. We should, with an infrared camera, with a regular camera, with our eyes from the space station, we should be able to see the moon. No one's ever seen the moon. The moon is not there. Okay. You know what? Let's jump down a crazy rabbit hole. We're gonna go over.
Oh, I'm with it.
Wait.
King stuck on. You said the moon's not there, and he looks up and sees the moon every day.
Well, no, the moon.
I even see that bitch in the daytime. Look.
No, I love this.
I wasn't talking about that, bro.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about he says go down a rabbit hole, bitch. I thought I was trying to get one.
So wait, we not in the rabbit hole?
We're going down. We're in the rabbit hole.
Hey.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna go to on the
clock.
This is my app. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. If you want to learn about flat Earth,
download the app.
Google, get the app. All right, but we'll get into that later.
Okay.
So eclipses on the bottom right here. If I clip that and I go, and up comes a list of videos that they won't show you, but I'm going to show you this video that I did. Okay. So here we go. So this was this is a real eclipse on the right, and this is my simulated eclipse on the left. Right. So a few years ago, somebody was filming an eclipse in Michigan, and we saw this little eclipse, this this eclipse light, and then the other one that's moving around, that's a lens flare. Okay. Now, this is the eclipse that's happening right now. It's so bright, it's blowing out the sun, but the sun is about 85-90% eclipse, right? Which is this little light here is showing us. All right. So we're like, well, that's not a lens flare because it's locked in position with the sun. As the camera is moving around, it's not moving around. So and so we don't see the moon. So here's me creating an eclipse. I got my light. This sheet right here, this paper towel, is the sky, and we're looking up at the sky, and this is how we see the eclipse, right? And so you never see the whatever is eclipsing the source of the sun come in, eclipse, or exit, right? So here it is. I did it again with a thinner sheet, and so right here, let me just make this bigger so I can touch. All right, so
I'm definitely gonna take a look at this app.
So check this out right here. This is the source, that light that's behind. This is the light that we see in the sky, right? And watch what happens when I play it. And I stop. Here's the eclipse. This is that little light that we saw, and compare it. Look, it's the same thing. So I contend that this is the true source of the sun, right? I contend that this right here is the source of the sun, this little one right here, and this is the sun that we see. And only during an eclipse, under certain conditions, can you see that rear projector. Listen, this is
okay. I think I understand what you're saying. When you say the source of the sun.
Yeah, so this is the source of the sun right here, and it's being projected into our sky, right? Let me show you. I'll show you something else.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I get
the source of the sun. So you saying the sun ain't real? So that goddamn ball in China, that ball in China at the top of year was actually a smaller version of what they got already.
What are we talking about?
China had lit up the sky at night for like 18 minutes. It cost them $1 trillion to do it.
Oh, you know what?
And they had like an artificial sun.
I don't know, man. I don't know what that was all about. It was a little crazy. So let me show you what I mean by my.
Are we living in a petri dish, bro? What the fuck?
We might be a little bit in a petri dish.
Hey, we in the locker room in black.
All right, so check this out. Here's a little experiment I did, and I hung up a blue sheet in my room here, and I'll call that my sky sheet. So when you look up through the atmosphere, the air becomes opaque. You see the blue sky. That's the limit of our vision. So this sheet is the limit of my vision. On the other side, about 10 feet over, I have a flashlight. The flashlight actually has like a square head, but it looks like a sun. It looks round, right? Weird that it looks round. And so I'm looking at it, and my girl is over to my left. I say, "Hey, where do you see the sun?" And she points to the sheet right there, right? So I'll move over to
her perspective, right?
Her perspective, she sees the sun right there. Me, I'm over to the right. I see the sun right there. And we're both looking at the same thing in two different positions at the same time. Isn't that weird?
Well, that's perspective.
King.
Like where you stand.
In school, they never taught you to think. They taught you to memorize. They taught you to memorize and regurgitate.
I'm teaching
you to think right now.
I'm gonna think of it, dog. You just explained perspective to me. I didn't see nothing that was goddamn going. I don't know. I guess I missed it. Run it back.
So we're both looking at we're looking at where this light is rendering in the sky. It's rendering in the sky close to us, and we're both 10 feet apart, and we both see it on 10 feet apart in the sky. We're seeing it in different positions. Like if I went over to her and said, "Where do you see the sun?" and I got a Sharpie and I drew a circle around it, and then I moved over, I would see the sun not in the circle that I just drew. I would see it in a different position.
But isn't that just changing perspective?
It is, but we're not looking at the same at the light in the same place. That's why people say, well, on a flat Earth, can't we just we're 100 miles apart and we see the sun and we could do some angles and we can figure out how far the sun is. The problem is we're looking at two different suns. We're looking at them in different places. If the sun is like a reflection.
If you believe there's a source of light beyond the blue sheet.
So here's the thing. I'm not claiming any of this is real. I'm claiming this is how it could work. This is how it could work. Right? Think about this. The sun is 93 million miles away, right? And the way they figured that out is such a complete and total nonsense, right?
Right.
You with me? 93 million miles away. You know how far that is? Let's talk distances for a minute, okay? Right? 93 million miles away, okay? So if I had the sun and I moved it at noon, Virginia, it's the middle of summer, and I moved the sun a mile over your head. So you go out, you look up, and the surface of the sun is just a mile over your head. Forget about burning up. It's just a model, okay? You look up at the sky, what are you going to see? The whole sky is going to be the sun, right? Horizon to horizon, it's going to be the whole sun.
Should be,
Because
right,
the sun
exactly.
is, if the sun was a yoga ball, we're a BB or a marble, right?
Right.
And if it's a mile over your head, it's literally right there. It's filling the whole sky. Now, as you move things into the distance, what do? They get smaller, right?
Right.
They get smaller. So we move it 93 million miles away, and it shrinks down to this, the size of a coin held at arm's length, right? About a nickel, hold a nickel at arm's length, it'll cover the sun, right?
Right.
Okay. So it got smaller. Why? Because I moved it away 93 million miles.
Right.
King, if I doubled the distance, how much smaller would it get?
To you or away from you?
No. Another 93 million miles farther away. How much smaller would it get? Now, remember, it was the entire sky, and it reduced to the size of a coin. And now it's going to go double the distance. How much smaller would it get?
About half the size.
Okay, so that I think it would get so small you couldn't see it, but I'll go with half the size. What if we doubled that again so it's 4 times farther away? How much smaller would it get? A lot smaller, right? Getting kind of small. It'd be the size of a star, maybe, right? Well, then we doubled it again, so now it's 8 times as far away. Can you see it?
Be able to see it.
Right, right. No. And that's right. And you can actually do the math because the angular size is too small for your eye to see. Okay? If you do the math, the angular size is too small for your eye to see. Okay? So 8 times as far. Let's measure that out in light. Light year is the distance light travels in a year. 8 times as far is 1 light hour because they tell us our sun is 8 light minutes away. 8 times as far, 64. We'll just call it a light hour. At a light hour, you cannot see the sun, right? It's too small, right? So they tell us that our sun is 400 times bigger than the moon. But why does it look the same size as our moon?
That's a good. I always pondered that. That's a good question.
Because it's 400 times farther away. That's what they tell us. So if something's 400 times bigger and 400 times farther, they'll look the same size. That's called scaling, distance and scaling. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So they tell us, and you can do that. You can take a yoga ball and a marble and then move the yoga ball, how many times farther away than the marble is, and they'll both look the same size, right? So they tell us that scaling works. Okay. So I can't move the sun 8 times farther away, but I know 8 times farther away you couldn't see it. What could we compare? Well, Polaris, our North Star. You guys look up and see the North Star from Virginia, right? It's a pretty bright star.
I believe so.
Not the brightest, but it's up there and never moves. It's in the same place all year long, every day, every night. Okay. They tell us Polaris is 48 times bigger than our sun. So how many times farther would we have to make it to be equivalent? 48 times farther, right? Right? If we wanted the sun and Polaris to be the same size, Polaris is 48 times bigger. Let's make it 48 times farther so they look like the sun and the moon, same size. Well, remember, we just moved the sun a light hour away and we can't see it. So if we move Polaris 48 light hours away, we shouldn't be able to see it because the scaling and distance would make them the same unseeable size.
Is Polaris the star?
Polaris is our North Star. All right. And it's 48 times bigger than our sun.
But now I'm only arguing. I'm only saying that if it's giving off its own light, right, that'll make the distance or the look of it possible.
We're not gonna. We'll talk about this in a second. No, you're absolutely right. But we're just talking about size right here. This is nothing to argue about. I'm just laying out facts. 14 times farther than a light hour is 48 light hours, and they'd both be provably too small to see. But let's be safe. Let's give the Globers a little extra leeway. So 48 light hours, that's 2 light days away.
I'm a Glober.
Let's make it So at 2 light days away, 48 light hours away, you couldn't see it, right? You with me? You with me? Let's give the Globers a little extra distance. Let's make it 100 times farther. Okay. So 200 light days away. Okay. And now, I mean, it's absolutely off the scale, ridiculous that you couldn't see it. That's not even a light year. Okay. That's 200 days away. Right. Guess how far they tell us Polaris is?
You said 40.
Now how far they tell us it actually is. The light that we see in the sky.
A couple light years away.
433 light years. Okay.
That sounds
Your
ridiculous.
mind should short circuit at this point because you can't fathom these distances.
Because we're looking at 300-year-old light, right?
Yeah, bullshit. That's nonsense. That's absolutely a story to go, oh, cool. But that light, remember, that light is spreading out. It doesn't pin you. It doesn't go like a laser. Lasers even spread out. You don't realize it though. Okay. It's spreading out. It's getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. Right. At 48 light hours away, at 2 light days away, Polaris would have to be so many times brighter than the sun. It's ridiculous. And at 433 light years away, it's not even something.
I get it.
But wouldn't it be that much more brighter than the sun because it's that much more bigger than the sun?
It would have to be like 600 quintillion times brighter than the sun. Okay. I mean, at what point do you go, this is ridiculous and stupid?
I
ain't done yet. Hold on, brother. Hold on, Frank. All
right.
What about you? Would have a better chance of getting me with the moon and the sun being out at the same time, right?
What do you
think?
That
was always perplexed. Having the sun and the moon out at the same time of the day, right?
Actually, that works.
That
works on both models. So, but it works better on the flat Earth model. So, if we go, here's our Earth, right? And the sun and the moon travel around. Make it a little bigger, right? The sun and the moon, I'll speed it up. The sun and the moon, the sun goes around once every 24 hours. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. Right? Now, look, notice the sun is getting closer to the moon. It laps the moon every, how long? How many times around until it laps the moon?
I think it's like 6 months or something, right?
No, 1 month. 28 days. Every 28 days.
Oh, that's the month.
It laps the moon. So right now, there's a new moon. There's no moon. Right? But in a moment, you'll see the moon.
The phases.
It starts trailing behind. So the sun keeps track of the hours and the days. There's the moon. The moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. There used to be 13 months of 28 days before they hijacked our calendar. Okay?
Right.
And
I believe that.
So let's slow it down and turn on the stars. The stars do the same thing. They're circling around, but they're only going slightly faster than the sun. So the sun will drift back into each zodiac for about a month. And it takes 365 times around for the stars to lap the sun. So the stars keep track of the seasons and the years. The sky is a perfect clock. It tells us where we are. Yeah, it works perfectly. You know what's
crazy theory?
The heliocentric model is crazy. Wait. We're going to get into that in a second. So
I love this stuff.
Yeah,
you can't
go ahead, King.
Go ahead.
You can't tell me man made this.
No, I'm not telling you man made this.
All right.
I'm not saying
who did this. Who put the dome here?
So let me ask you a question. I'm showing you that we're in an intelligently designed system. So you have two choices. One, once upon a time there was nothing. Okay. Once upon a time. Yeah. Hold on a second. Once upon a time there was nothing, right? It exploded and became everything. And all of a sudden, all of the rocks turned into balls and all the gases collapsed upon themselves and turned into burning stars. And it left a vacuum in between, a void, right? Gases burning in a void. And the gas balls had so much mass that they were holding on to the rocky balls. And they're all going all over the place, working perfectly. And then lightning struck and an amoeba was born. Right, DNA, DNA, and it turned into a fish that grew legs, and it climbed out of the water.
Right.
Another sexy fish had sex and turned into a monkey, and it turned into a human. Okay,
right.
Or
when you put in those words,
place is intelligently designed, and we are in a divine place. We are created. We are eternal souls, right? That sounded a lot more reasonable to me. Now, who did it? That's your own journey. That's your own journey. Just know that it wasn't a random accident. We are here at the center of creation. We have power. We have divine rights. We have common rights, right? They're trying to convince us that we are living in the maritime law, which is the law of the courts, the law of the land. I mean, the court law. And the way they do that to make us obey their rules is make us believe that we're not divine, that we're not in a divine place.
I believe that.
Away our rights.
I believe that.
All right, hold on. Frank, I ain't cut you off, Frank. Hold on, Frank.
No, you straight. I'm good. Go ahead. Go.
So look, the other day, there was a energy blast that hit the earth. Did you hear about it?
Yeah, a solar flare hit us. Yeah, there's all sorts of
not a solar
93 million miles away.
They said it was some kind of energy beam that came and it lasted for 50 seconds. It was double the time or longer than the time that it normally takes to travel, and it hit us, and it lasted.
I did not hear about this, but are they kind of hinting that it might be extraterrestrials? Because they're really trying to make us believe that we're going to be attacked by extraterrestrials. Ronald Reagan set us up for that.
Star Wars.
Yeah. And he's like, wouldn't we, if we were being attacked by an outside force, wouldn't we all get together and fight?
He said at the UN, right?
Yeah. They want a one
gamma
world
rays
government. They want a one world government. The truth is the extraterrestrials are here. Let's just talk about what's more possible. Okay. So the closest star is 4.5 light years away. That's the closest star, excluding our sun, if you believe that's a star, right? 4.5 light years. That's how many miles? 25 trillion miles. Cool. That doesn't sound too far. So, King, let me ask you a question.
What's up?
If you were traveling at a mile per second, which nobody has ever gone that far, that fast, a mile per second, and you traveled for 1 trillion seconds, you've gone 1 trillion miles, right? 1 mile per second, 1 trillion seconds, you've gone 1 trillion miles, right? If you're going a mile per second for 10 seconds, how many miles have you gone? 10 miles.
10 trillion.
No, 10 miles. A mile per second for 10 seconds. 10 miles.
10 miles.
Okay. 100 mile per second. 100 miles. If you for 100 seconds. So 1 trillion seconds at a mile per second is 1 trillion miles. With me? Just get the foundation set up. How long do you think 1 trillion seconds is? Measure it out in days, weeks, months, years, whatever you want. How long do you think 1 trillion seconds is?
Oh Lord, Brody.
Take a guess. If you guess it within 2 days, I'll give you a Bitcoin.
2 days.
I'll give you a million. I'm saying a million
that
years.
shit.
Yeah. A million years?
Years.
1 trillion seconds is a million years? 1
I have
trillion.
no clue, bro.
Well, you know what? That's a freaking good answer. It's 31,000 years. All right. So if you're traveling,
bro, better than
if you're traveling, most people say like, 10 years or something. All right. If you're traveling at a mile per second for 1 trillion seconds, you've traveled for 31,000 years. And guess what? How close are you to the first star? You're 1/25th of the way to the closest star. And the other stars are magnitudes farther. Okay. And you want to believe that spaceships come here and crash in Roswell after navigating space and getting here to our little blue dot? Give me a friggin' break. Okay.
Well, there's different theories on how they travel, right? I don't believe. If you believe it, I don't believe that they use rocket.
Let me tell you how they travel. There's nobody has ever
off of the answers.
You
gotta interview Kanye or something, bro.
So check this out. This is what I think. I think the world is set up like this. We live here. Okay,
like
we live here in this pond, and out here are other ponds with their own suns. Okay. And if you go out across our Earth plane, there's other worlds here. These are pieces of the plane. You know what you call this piece of the plane? A planet. A piece of the plane is called a planet.
Okay, that's interesting.
And
those other planets?
And so these could be the other planets. So how far is this? 10,000, 50, 100,000 miles, whatever. It's not a light year away or even a light minute or even a light second. Okay. All right. These are scientifically possible. Is this the way the world is set up? it's scientifically possible. Space is scientifically impossible. We just want the right to explore beyond Antarctica. We want the right to explore out there.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that. What do you think is the danger? Because you know how they say, like we talked about earlier, there's an animosity towards this type of stuff, talking about it. What is the real danger? Where's the harm? To me, I feel like, okay, if you're a flat earther or you're a globe person, there's no real harm in believing what you believe. But at the same time, it's like,
sure,
why are they trying so hard to suppress even the thought? Because the way I look at it, it's religion, right? Let's say I want to compare it to religion. Whether you believe in Jesus or Buddha.
Science is a religion.
Right. Whether you believe in Jesus or Buddha, there's no harm coming to anybody. You have your belief, I have my belief. We could coexist on the world. It doesn't matter. But why, when it comes to flat Earth?
I'll tell you why. Because
don't talk to me about it.
If you believe that you are on a random
same with the Jews.
If you believe you're a random speck flying through an infinite universe where an asteroid could take you out at any moment, where we're running out of water, we're running out of fuel, we're running out of resources, we're overpopulated, right? That if you believe in all of that, you are powerless. You're giving up your own power. If you don't understand that you are at the center of creation, that your thoughts create your reality, you give up your true power. You will not live to your true potential. They're hiding energy. They're hiding free energy. They're hiding technology. They're hiding more land. They're hiding the creator. They're hiding your true power. They're hiding the fact that we are divine. We are in a divine world, right? And they don't want us to know that, right? There's divine law, which I was saying before, which is God's law. Common law, the law of the land. And then statutory law or admiral law, that's the law of the courts, right? They can't take your rights away until they can convince you that you're not divine, that you're not in a divine world. And if you believe that you live on a ball, now you can believe in God and live on a ball, but you're not seeing the full creation. You're not seeing something that you can live to your true potential. The people that run this world hate God. Okay. Now look at me talk about God. Before I learned about flat Earth, I heard any podcast I've listened to, I could love it. Greatest podcast ever. Talk about God. I'm gone. I'm like, oh, a bunch of religious fanatics. I'm not religious. Okay.
I'm not either.
I know that I live in a divine created world. I know that I'm at the center of creation. And I know that nobody can take my power away, right? You have God, you have, this is divine law and common law, right? So, and then you could stick, we're here. And then government's below us. Government's trying to climb all the way to the top, right? Government wants to be government thinks that they're in charge. Tell you
to take the jab to keep your job, right?
We're going to give you your rights back. Bullshit. You can't take them. The only way they can take them away is if we agree.
Is you give them up.
Yeah. Nobody has control over you except in your imagination.
I'm listening to a podcast today, and bro's talking about credit and how you have to you are opted in by default for something, right? You're opted in by default, but the only way you get your rights back is by saying, I don't want to participate. And so it's kind of like what you're saying, like, in order for them to get your rights, you have to opt in. You got to participate. But if not, you have to default and take your rights back, right?
Well, when you're born, you're commoditized. You get your social security card, and you're literally put on the stock exchange, and you're a commodity that the United States of America Corporation is trading you. Okay, and you're a commodity, and you pay your taxes like a good little slave, right? None of this is required, right? Once you understand how this world works, right? You're playing into the system. Okay. Now, in the way this world works, if somebody makes you an offer, you can't say no, but you can say yes with these conditions. Yes, I'll take the jibby jab as long as you could show me evidence that all of the ingredients have been tested separately, that they are safe and effective, and blah blah blah. You can say anything. People say, we want to come and do something, and look around your house. You say, yeah, okay, I'll allow that, but I charge $50,000 a second for you to enter my house. Okay. Right. Okay. And that's my charge. As long as you agree, come on in,
Exactly.
Right.
Keep you for 5 hours.
But it's always a negotiation, right? And you have the upper hand because you only agree to what you want to agree to.
All right. I believe that. That's facts. That's real.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do want to say one. Go ahead. One more thing.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Are scientifically impossible. Right?
What
We
is?
are supposed to be scientifically impossible.
Humans.
This Earth. Yeah. This whole the blue ball in itself, the oxygen.
I mean,
right?
think about this. We're a rock surrounded by
Yeah.
water, which makes the rock perfectly round somehow, right? We're on this lumpy rock. You pour water on it, and it makes it perfectly round. And then you have curved spherical air around that adjacent to a void, adjacent to a vacuum. How do you have air pressure next to a vacuum? King, if I said, hey, go get me some propane for the grill, but don't bring the tank. Just bring me the propane. Could you do it? No tank, just the propane. How do we have air?
Don't they use gravity to explain gravity pulls the atmosphere down?
So do you ever drink with a straw? You ever drink with a straw? So the weak, tiny bit of low pressure in your mouth and lungs can pull water and air up and away from Earth.
True.
Do you think the weak vacuum of your lungs is any comparison to the vacuum of space? Vacuum of space is a quadrillion times stronger than the vacuum of your lungs, the low pressure of your lungs. Okay.
Oh, because he's saying the gravity wouldn't be strong enough to hold the atmosphere down.
How's the gravity holding the air down? Here's an experiment. Now, I'm going to draw a picture in your head. This is easier than the math we did before.
I love thought experiments.
Okay. So we're in a room, and I have a glass box, like a fish tank box, a four-sided box. And on the top of the box is a trap door that I could remotely open, but it's closed right now. And I put the box on the floor, and I just close the door, and it just has the regular air pressure in it. Then on top of that, I put another box, and that has a trapdoor on the bottom and a trapdoor on the top. They're both closed, and I take out 10% of the air, so it's 90% air pressure. I put one on top of that, 80%, 70, 60, 50, all the way up to where the last one is the total vacuum. Okay? So I have this stacked tower of concealed air getting thinner and thinner and thinner, just like they tell us our atmosphere gets thinner and thinner and thinner until it becomes so thin that it's space. So now I press a button, and all of those trapdoors open. What happens? Everything equalizes. It's going to equalize instantly. It's going to equalize violently in a second, in less than a second. It's going to equalize.
That makes sense.
How come gravity didn't hold the air down? If gravity's holding the air down, I should be able to hold a shoebox, an open shoebox, and then below me, I get a vacuum, suck all the air out of the room, and the air in the shoebox should be held in by the gravity. But that doesn't happen. It all equalizes.
That's good. I like that. I like that.
Why is this balloon? Why is it? It's not a condom.
It looks like it. I know you thought it was when he first showed it.
Why is this balloon? Get your head out together. Come on. Why is this balloon? Why is it hanging down? Why is it hanging down? Gravity, supposedly, right?
Okay. Right. Okay.
Why isn't gravity ready? Why isn't gravity pulling it down like this? Why isn't it stretching it? Because gravity's not strong. Gravity's not strong enough to pull it down, right?
Okay, your hand is doing it right now.
My hand is pulling it down now, but gravity's not strong. If gravity was really strong, maybe it would pull it down, but gravity's not pulling it down. So watch this. What is this air trying to do? It's trying to escape in all different directions. Sideways, down, right, left, right, up, down. It's trying to escape in all directions.
Right.
How come gravity isn't sucking it down? This is stronger than gravity. It stretched out this balloon that gravity couldn't stretch out. The air pressure is so much stronger than the alleged gravity. Okay?
It has no matter.
Right.
Air has matter.
Well,
very little.
Air is
very light.
Here, I'm gonna blow you guys' minds. How's this?
Let's go. No, what he was saying makes sense with the gravity.
To you.
This is the thing. This is the fun part of this. We can watch this over and over and then ingest it, just to have understanding.
So I'm gonna watch my Facebook stuff later.
Our world, right, is there is the alleged force of gravity, which is it doesn't work, and they're like, well, we need 96% of it's dark matter and dark energy, which we've never seen or measured, but it has to exist, otherwise gravity doesn't work. Wait a minute, if you have a theory and you got to make up 96% of it to make it work, that's nonsense. That's pseudoscience, right? But they made it up. They're like, well, gravity doesn't work without it, so therefore it has to be, right? Mm-hmm. Therefore, give me a friggin' break, right? Not true. Now, there is the electrostatic force, which is scientifically testably measurable. And they tell us the electrostatic force is 10 to the 36th power stronger than gravity. Let me just tell you something. If they said 10 to the 5th power, that's a lot. 10 to the 36 is retarded, okay? But 10 to the 36th power stronger than gravity. So let's pretend gravity is real and the electrostatic force is real. The Earth has a negative charge, a neutral charge, and everything in the air has a positive charge, scientifically testable. It's not a theory. So when I hold something up like this ball and I drop it, it falls because of gravity or because it's in a positive field and it's being attracted to the Earth, which doesn't move. Now, the electrostatic force is 10 to the 36 more times more powerful than the alleged power of gravity. How can you rule out the electrostatic force? That one we can measure, the other one we can't. Okay, so gravity is complete and total nonsense. So let's say how can we test that? So here is where is it? Where am I going?
It's crazy stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
I got some good stuff here. So where is my thing? Okay, so as I was telling you before, the sun and the moon are the anode and the cathode of our system. The salt water carries a current. The land is a salt bridge. That's a battery. Okay, there's free energy everywhere. Okay,
I believe Tesla found it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Well, that's a whole nother thing. So I'm trying to just jump forward because I want to go forever here. Where is my? Here we go. Okay. So first, you have to believe that this is going on in Australia. Upside down ships and water and guys on jetpacks, right? This is going on the other side of the world. While we're spinning, while we're orbiting through space, through the space vacuum, going at speeds that you can't even fathom. All right. Absolute stupid. Absolute complete and total insanity. All right. So here we got some helium balloons, some leftover from a party. We tied them to there's a little button at the end of this wire, and it's just neutrally buoyant. You've done that where it's just neutrally buoyant. Okay. Now this wire goes to what's called a Van der Graaf generator, where we can crank a charge in it, and we're going to add a positive charge. Watch what happens. It got heavier. Did we make it heavier, or did we change its electric potential? We gave it a positive charge. The Earth has a negative charge. We discharge it. It goes right back up. Okay.
Okay.
So we changed its electrostatic potential, and it went up and down. Are we changing its gravity, its mass? No. We changed its electrostatic charge. So what about the opposite?
Anti-gravity?
Well, no. We don't believe in gravity. We believe in the electrostatic charge. We're adding a negative charge to it. The Earth is negative, and because it's still wired in and it's not touching anything, it's keeping its negative charge and it's floating. Are we defying gravity, or are we defying the electrostatic charge of the Earth?
That's interesting,
right?
I felt like I should have brushed up on some science basics before we did this, but no, that's
I feel great.
Right? that's good.
So this is a guy in Russia. He got these magnets, and he spin these magnets, and he just changes the electrostatic charge, and this has a negative charge, and it's lifting up off the floor. Silent. Okay.
Right.
Actually, that one I think it actually has a moving part. But check this out. This is MIT. This is called the silent drone. No moving parts, absolutely silent, and it's just changing the electrostatic charge. It's a drone that flies just by changing its charge potential.
So this makes me think of the Coral Castle.
Absolutely. Edward Lee Scallon. He's using the energy lines in the Earth and everything. There's so much more to all of this, okay? But this thing is flying. And now, as soon as they let us access wireless electricity, we're almost there. Our iPhones charge wirelessly now, right? They can transfer energy through the air, and everything can charge. So you can take this drone and fly it all around the Earth, fly it to Antarctica, fly it anywhere. It doesn't need to charge because it could pull energy out of the air. The higher up you go, the more of a charge there is, right? There's a lot of evidence that these old, church steeples and all of these old buildings from the old world are energy
Or
harvesting
coils.
devices,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Pyramid. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen that. Yeah.
Why when you're on horse and buggy and settling, are you building towers? You know, the ornate towers with Antiquitech on them that are going way up into the sky with stone. Give me a break.
That's crazy, man. What do you think is the end game for this? Like,
I'll tell you the end game.
if all of this, I'm
Total
not saying
world
I
domination.
I'm not saying I
Thank
believe
you.
or not,
King said
but
it.
it is interesting. What do you think is the end game, right? Like if information like this becomes common knowledge, it becomes proven in mainstream and everyone understands it. What is that possibility, and what's the other possibility
Yeah.
of continued suppression? And
Yeah. So
Right.
great. That's the perfect question. If continued suppression, people keep their heads up their asses and not care, not do anything, we will all be slaves. We will be slaves for a very long time. They're trying to
Wow.
put everything, you know, they're trying to get us with our national IDs and you know, where
Right.
everything is their digital money. They want us to believe, you know, I don't know if you guys are into crypto, this whole thing with FTX. That is a scam. That's not crypto. Crypto isn't with a middleman. You don't have exchanges. Like if you have a wallet, if you had a wallet for like Hex or for I don't know,
Ripple.
well, not even that. Just if
Polydot.
if you have you're I like Epic Cash and I like Hex and the hell's the other one? I'm done. The main one I have. It's
Tron. There's Tron, Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum.
there's all different kinds, right? All
Right.
different kinds. But I can send it to you without a middleman. You can
Right.
send it to King. King can send it back to me, right?
Right.
And no middleman, no problem. That's crypto. Having
The
a
true
middleman
meaning of
is
crypto.
literally how corruption starts. How it's the
With the
middleman of the
exchanges.
Federal Reserve. It's nonsense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So once people understand that and they try to put in their, you know, centralized digital federal currency,
CBCD. Yeah.
CBDC, that is control. And they're gonna be like, oh, I don't like what you said today, David Weiss, and we're gonna just turn off all your money and now you can't do anything. Or they're gonna say, here's your money, you need to spend it by this time or it disappears. So they can force us
Right.
to spend money, right? It's total control. Or
I believe that.
if
Yeah, I believe
everybody watches podcast, right? King tweets it out and somewhere, and Elon happens to tweet it, and then it goes over to Justin Bieber, and he tweets it. Now the whole world is sees it, and they all wake up tomorrow and go, you know, I'm no longer going to pay attention to government. Well, guess what? The governments are gone, right? If everybody wakes up to the flat Earth, to the truth of our
Mhm.
world, to our divine
Mhm.
position, all of this control goes away. Now there will be some mayhem. All universities will close down. All
Some.
places will close down. All like everything will collapse. It'll be, but then it'll all come back together because humans are awesome. Okay.
I believe
People
that,
are
yeah.
amazing. They want us to believe that we're going around shooting up places and killing kids. They want us to believe a bunch of nonsense. Okay. And
They want us to believe that we divide ourselves naturally and we
Right.
have these divisions and we can't be nothing but warmongers and hateful.
Right.
But I
And
don't think that's the true nature of us.
and,
either.
and they want us to believe that there's systemic racism. Okay. No, there's not. I mean, there's people that are prejudiced and people that have like different things. That's your own personal preference. But like, there's no such thing as systemic racism, right? You could be brought up to be, you know, like looking at people weird, but that's your problem. Okay. It's not something that is, prevalent. I'm trying to remember my words here.
Right.
All right. So
Yeah,
again,
it is. Yeah.
So again, waking up, you know, I woke people up to all these other deceptions and they go right back to sleep. You wake someone up to the flat earth, it changes their life forever and they become a better person.
I feel like I'm about to, so like for me personally, right? I understand most of the arguments and I understand the evidence presented and it makes sense. And there are questions there. I don't know if I could be fully 100% sold on flat earth.
So
I
what's
do
your best
think
proof
though,
of the globe?
I don't have best proof of either or, right? I can't prove it's a globe or it's flat, but I don't know. I feel like there's a
you can. You actually can.
okay. Well, not me personally, right?
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is, so a few years ago, right, there was this debate with, I don't know if you probably remember Bill Nye and I think it's Hammond or some religious guy, and they sat and they debated for hours. Nobody was listening to each other. It was just a super religious guy and a super science guy. But my thing is, I think discourse like this, and I think debates are fine. And I think stuff like this has to be brought to the mainstream and debunked or proven or disproven and talked about. But I have today I haven't seen, like, let's say, a very astute scientific person speak and debate a flat earther and actually have healthy discourse. It's either you're a flat earther or you're this guy.
The main science guys will not debate us because they can't, because they know they'll lose. Right.
Right.
Neil deGrasse Tyson was supposed to debate one of our guys. And he backed out. He was booked on Joe Rogan, and he backed out.
That'd have been perfect.
Yeah, no,
it's stuff like that. It's stuff like that
he can't do it. They say he says Neil deGrasse Tyson says we don't have time to debate flat earthers, but he spends countless video after video after video strawmanning us and saying just it's all strawman. So when you look at that proves flat earth right there. These are all of the people. Look, this is Virginia. Virginia's right over here somewhere. These are people that have my app. This is called the Friend Finder. You can tap on any one of these dots. You can send out a group message to a radius, and you can have meetups. You can literally meet. People are meeting people, and then you can do video chats on here. You can do all sorts of shit. Okay, it's crazy. People are having babies on here. People are.
What's the name of the app again?
It's called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. There's one. If you go to Google Play, you're going to end up with the wrong app. Go to flatearthdave.com. Wow. Flatearthdave.com. Click the app.
Direct consumer. That's right.
Yeah, and get it there. It's $3. Okay, but it's $3, and then you have it forever. If you want to message people and be interactive that way, it's $11 a year. Okay, you bought me a margarita, you didn't tip the bartender. Or we have a referral program. If you click the referral dot right up there, you can refer people and you can trade in 11 points for a year subscription. So you don't even have to buy the subscription if you're busy, showing people how it works. So
that's dope.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like if I set it for let me turn on my radius and I say 50 kilometers, and within 50 kilometers of me there is 478 people, I could send a message. Hey, Saturday, Rico's Bar and Grill, 4 p.m. Come on down, 123.
Social network. There you go.
And then everyone shows up. And let me tell you something. Every blue dot on here is an amazing person, right? They're all amazing, wide awake.
Right. And I don't think you have to be you don't have to be a crazy, person to believe this. Like I have no problem with different beliefs, people with different beliefs, different backgrounds.
Beliefs, you believe the earth is a globe, but you can't come up with a single reason why. Let me show you one more thing and then we can wrap it up. You can ask me final questions. But this is one that I really like. And it's on a ball, you're required to have a physical barrier at a certain distance. So a 6 foot tall person standing at the edge of calm water should have a physical horizon at just 3 miles away because there's a 6 foot drop, right? You with me? So here is a spot in Aluja, France. Out here is Mount Canigou, 175 miles away. Using the curvature calculator from the elevation that we're looking, the top of the mountain should be a half a mile or more below the curve of the earth. Okay, cool. We can't see it. Must be below the curve. But twice a year as the sun migrates, in between the two tropics, it lines up with Canigou and the viewing spot. And when it does, as it's moving away, all of a sudden, it backlights it. So the light, we're looking at Mount Canigou, and the light that's bouncing off of it, like the light that bounces off the moon, supposedly, can't make it 175 miles to our eyes. So we just see sky, right? It's not bright enough, but the sun is brighter, and it can push through. So when it lines up with Mount Canigou, look, here's Mount Canigou. And the very top of Mount Canigou up here should be over a half a mile below the physical curve. It's right there. The Earth is 1,000 times bigger than they tell us. That's a problem. Or it's flat. Or it's flat.
Right.
Look, this is not a mirage. Now, you want to hear what the Globers argument this is?
What they say?
The sun has already set. It's already below the curve. And the mountain's already
It's a light refraction.
And it's refracting up and stopping at eye level. And it's a mirage. Refraction.
Stuff like that never made sense to me. But
all right.
No, that sounds like bull. That sounds like bull.
So
You good, King? Your brain look like
I'm
you
good,
hurt, it
bro.
hurt over there.
Now I got some Googles. So I thought I was learning some shit when I was doing my quantum study. And goddamn, boy, you got something for me to learn.
Dude, so let me tell you something. If you Google flat Earth, you're gonna find nonsense. Google flat Earth, you get all absolute and total nonsense. But in the app, if you hit the frequently asked questions button, the little question mark, up come all the questions that you guys are gonna ask. Hey, what about the ISS? We didn't even get into the fake rockets going up. We can maybe do that another time.
Oh my God, yeah, I would love to do it.
Seasons, but here's the thing: are all space agencies in on it? Click that one, and up come all sorts of stuff that they don't want you to see, and you'll see plenty in here. These videos won't come up when you search for them, but they're all here for you to see, right? And
that's what we're doing.
There's tons. Hit the web button. This is more resources. My interviews, your interview, when it's on YouTube, will be right here. Right here.
That's
amazing TikToks. Caleb and Derek. These two guys
on TikTok.
are
That's what I'm gonna do.
killing it.
Let's go.
Go subscribe to these guys. Caleb and
is YouTube friendly to this, or are we post?
No, YouTube's totally friendly. We didn't say anything about the jibby jab. That we're all good.
Okay,
YouTube,
all right.
Totally friendly. We didn't say anything. I'm going to put it on my channel also after you guys air it. So send me a link when this is up, so I can share your link on the app.
Sure.
Your link will be right here. Like when you click this, here are my recent interviews. Here I am on Stu Peters from the other day.
Nice.
But these are just my recent interviews. They go on and on and on forever. But yours will be at the top of that list.
You out there spreading the gospel, sir.
That's right.
That's it. Another great one. Another great one is emergency landings. That'll blow your mind away. That proves the Earth is flat.
Planes.
Emergency landings. They always land in a place that's not that is impossible. Here, I'll hit the images button. Let me just show you one. This is a cool one. This is my
we went in on this.
Yeah. This is my favorite. This one right here. Where is it? Okay. So here's a flight. This flight right here. Check this out. Going from Hong Kong, it was going all the way to the UK, but it stopped in Germany, right? It's a 12-hour flight. 4 hours into the flight, right about here, families traveling together, little kids, mom, dad. Mom dies suddenly. Boom, dead.
Oh, wow, on the plane.
Dead in her seat. What do you do if you're the pilot? Land. You got to land, right? Mom's dead.
Mm-hmm.
They flew for 8 more hours before they landed. So the kids, traumatically ruining their whole lives, sitting next to their dead mom for 8 hours. Could you imagine even sitting next to your mom for 8 hours, let alone dead?
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
No, that's horrible.
So 8 hours. Why didn't they land here? There's 50 different airports they could have landed at. Reason is because they were flying in a straight line. Emergency. They're over Russia all of this time. You can't land in Russia for 2 reasons. One, Russia will be the nice guys. They'll be like, oh, please let us help you. Wait, Russia, good guys?
Yeah.
Russia is supposed to be bad guys. And 2, what the hell are we doing flying over Russia? And then somebody will look at it together and go, Earth is flat.
That's why.
Okay.
So yeah, these are the type of videos that I told you earlier that got me years ago. The flight patterns and all that. But yeah, that is kind of freaky.
In the frequently asked questions, you have Southern flights right here. Boom, click that, and up come a whole bunch of videos. We did lots of tests. Here's the thing. Don't believe anything I'm telling you. Okay? Don't believe anything I tell you. I believe you guys live in Virginia. I don't know it. You told me.
Right.
I don't know why you'd lie to me. You seem like
Texas,
you're in Virginia. Right. Okay. So again, belief is the enemy of knowing. And once you do that, you'll this will blow your mind. And so wait, here's the last thing. Every day there's a new video right here on the front of the app, new video, 8:01 a.m. every day. Okay, Eastern.
Okay.
Cool.
And click that video, watch that video. That's it. You're done. Cool. And if you want to watch the next video, it's a good video. It's not a YouTube selected video. It's one of my selected videos. All right, go ahead.
I just got one question. One last question. Are all airline pilots in on it?
No.
Do they know?
So again,
because the example you just used with Russia, like
in the frequently asked questions, pilots and scientists, are they all in on it right there? Okay.
Oh wow, that's right.
Oh my God,
it's right there.
They got they have everything.
All the questions that you're going to ask are already here. They're already answered. Okay. But here's the thing: Qantas, which is the flights out of out of Australia, all of their pilots know, but they tell us they're not allowed to talk about it publicly because they'll be grounded. Okay.
Or murked or freaking Epstein.
Yeah. Well, Epstein's probably living on one of those atolls, right? He's probably on that ship.
That's another thing too. So all those people that supposedly died, they just on the outer rims of the Earth.
Who we talking about? The Challenger?
The celebrities who died. Are they on the outer Earth now?
You know what? I don't know, man. Could be. I don't know. Man. I think Epstein and
we love this stuff.
Ghislaine, they're probably out there having a good time.
This is the Figuring Shit Out podcast. We trying to figure shit out. We welcome all beliefs, all thoughts.
Here's the thing. Belief is the enemy of knowing. Knowing takes time and effort, and it's worth it, right? So you got to figure this shit out. Realize, listen, there's a lot we don't know about the flat Earth, but some people say there's no more land beyond Antarctica. Cool. Some people say there's a hard dome. Some people say the dome is flat. Some people say there is no dome. That's all good. Okay, I think there's a dome. Okay, I think a dome. I think there's multiple types of domes, but that doesn't matter. We all know that the ball floating in heliocentric space is nonsense, scientifically impossible, and that's all that matters. So you don't have to call yourself a flat earther, call yourself a globe denier. Okay.
Oh, okay. We changing. Okay.
Globe denier. That's cool.
I would love to see Neil deGrasse.
He'll never do it.
Debate.
We've trapped him.
What do you think? What would you think? How would you bring him to the stage? Like, what incentive? Money? I don't know.
Yeah,
I would love to see him.
They're talking about how flat earthers are dangerous and they're ruining,
Right.
But there's a lot of people that already know, man. There's a lot of celebrities that are coming out. Kelsey Grammer, he's a flat earther. Amy Irving, Lois Lane, flat earther. Justin Bieber, he knows, but they can't talk about it because they lose all of their money. Kyrie Irving, Shaq, they came out, but then they kind of backed it up because, oh my God, all my sponsors are going to disappear. Listen, anyone that's huge, if you come out, they're going to try to make you back it up. What's the Bryce Mitchell, the fighter, the guy that just had the champion fight the other day. He's full on flat earther, and he's trying to call out Joe Rogan. Okay, unfortunately, he lost his championship fight the other night, or otherwise he would have had Joe Rogan in the middle of the ring and called him out in front of the whole world. But
you worry about it, urban flat.
So again, here's my final pitch. My final pitch is,
all right.
If you don't bring this up, we're all going to be slaves. Anyone that knows that the earth is flat, if you're not talking about it, if you're not waking people up, if you're not gifting that app to other people and to help them learn, if you're not waking up the world, you are responsible for what's going to happen to us. And it's happening very fast. By 2025, we're all fucked. Okay? And if people don't get their heads out of their asses, we can turn this around if we know where we are. If we know who we are, if we know what we are. We can turn this around if we know that nobody has power over us. Okay? We have the ability to turn around, but if you have your head up your ass flying through heliocentric space, you're powerless.
And there it is.
There you go, folks.
FlatEarthDave.com. Everything's there. I have a thing called the
FlatEarthDave.com.
The crash course there. Just go take the crash course. If you don't have a phone that you don't want to put on your phone, fine. Just go take the crash course. It's a bunch of videos. Turn off Netflix.
Get you an ounce of smoke. Right. Get you some cookies and shit. Download FlatEarthDave.com app. $3 get the goddamn. I mean,
yeah,
hey,
I'm gonna be.
Dave, my brain is much Brody, but we thank you for coming through, man.
All right, man.
Thank you so much. I'll be up till 3 a.m. on the app now.
Man, I'm trying to.
You ain't going to sleep for a long time, dude. And just listen. Watch the daily video every day. Hit the frequently asked questions. Hit the more resources. Right. Whatever you do, don't hit the Mud Floods Tataria button because then you'll never go to sleep. Okay.
Mud Floods.
Mud Floods. Our true history. It's in there. It's a button called Mud Floods. It's on the more resources page.
That's the first one I'm going to. Thank you, sir.
That one's gonna get you going, man. You're not gonna even know where to go from there. All right. Peace, guys. See ya.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Don't forget to send me a link when this is up.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be up Saturday, actually. This Saturday.
Okay. All right, man.
Cool.
Thanks.
Peace out. See ya.
Have a good one.